Starting with some coronavirus updates, as COVID cases are now wreaking havoc across the European continent in particular, France, Britain, Greece and Portugal have all reported record daily case numbers. France, for one, has reported a record high of almost 180,000 confirmed COVID cases in the last 24-hour period. It is one of the highest one-day tallies worldwide since the beginning of the pandemic. It is also the highest number of new daily cases in Europe since the start of the pandemic. England and Wales have reported nearly 130,000 new cases, which is again a record daily tally as the Omicron variant cases surge. The response of the UK's four nations continues to diverge. Authorities in London and Cardiff announced nearly 130,000 new cases, while the devolved government in Scotland provisionally recorded more than 9,000 cases. Northern Ireland released no new data due to the Christmas season. As Omicron has now become the dominant strain of COVID-19, daily cases have been crossing the 100,000 mark across the UK. Britain is already among the worst-hit countries in Europe. Hospital admission rates are on the rise, particularly in London. The hospitalisation rate in the British capital is up 53% week on week. The virus death toll in Britain is approaching 150,000. Following the recent rise in infections, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland have all introduced renewed curbs on hospitality and bigger social gatherings, but British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has so far decided against following suit with tougher measures in England. The highly transmissible Omicron variant has propelled the surges in several other European nations, despite having one of the world's highest vaccination rates. Portugal has now reported record high daily COVID cases. The Omicron variant is now dominant in Portugal. Health authorities registered more than 17,000 new cases in 24 hours, and health officials are now concerned about the surge, since it is putting enormous pressure on the healthcare and other facilities, as well as testing and tracing facilities in the country. Portugal could reach 37,000 daily cases around January 7th next year. Almost 90% of Portugal's population has been vaccinated. Almost 2.4 million people have received a third shot, or a booster shot as it is called. The Omicron variant is now dominant in Switzerland as well. The spread has even caused those who have received 3 shots or 2 shots and a booster shot to be admitted in hospital due to this variant. Switzerland has one of the highest infection rates in continental Europe. More than 13,000 new cases have been recorded in a day. The figure is expected to reach 20,000 per day in January. Around 55% of Swiss cases are now due to Omicron. The variant is soon expected to represent almost all recorded infections. Some 67% of the Swiss population has received at least 2 vaccine doses. 22% have had a third injection as well. Coming now to the Netherlands, where the highly contagious strain has become dominant as well. More than 9,000 positive tests were reported on Tuesday. The new strain is expected to lead to additional infections in the coming period. Authorities have warned of increased hospital admissions. The Netherlands is under Christmas lockdown until January 14th, and more than 20% of the Dutch adult population has received vaccine boosters. To hold back the tide, European nations are now bringing back restrictions with painful economic and social consequences. Finland said that it would bar unvaccinated foreign travellers. Only residents, essential workers or diplomats will be exempt. The Nordic country, Sweden, requires negative tests for incoming non-resident travellers. Denmark applied the same measure before Sweden. In Germany, private gatherings are now limited to 10 vaccinated people. But a Belgian court has thwarted the government's plans to introduce further restrictions as of now. The order on the closing of entertainment venues has so far been suspended. We earlier spoke to Trent Murray from Berlin, who got us more details about the COVID situation across Europe as well as the measures in place. Listen in.
Several of those European countries, vaccination rates are not as high as health authorities would like them to be. And also what we are increasingly seeing from the Omicron variant is that there are cases where there is breakthrough infections. In other words, in people getting infected even if they have been vaccinated. Now, all of the science tells us that if you have had your booster shot, in other words, 3 doses of your vaccine, the chances of a breakthrough infection are lower. But regardless, a vaccination will keep you safe. It will keep you healthy and may not, the symptoms may not be as serious as, of course, if you haven't had your vaccination. But this all comes as Europe, of course, records a major spike in cases, which is exactly what the World Health Organization had been worried about. I mean, it's very easy, I think, to get lost in all of the numbers, but the headline number for me this morning that I think we all need to look at is France. 180,000 cases in a single day. Now, to give you context, that is the highest number any European country has seen throughout the entire pandemic. It's an all-time record, of course, for France. Compare that to where I am in Germany. Well, the highest we've ever seen is 65,000. So there's a 100,000 case difference there. Clearly, that is concerning French lawmakers. The health minister there says it's not implausible that we could get to 250,000 cases a day in France in the new year. So the World Health Organization, as well as the European Union now, are really scrambling to make sure that the hospital system can be able to withstand this increasingly large wave from Omicron. But of course, it is a difficult thing to do given it's already winter here, and during this time of year, hospitals are full and very busy, I should say, with other types of illnesses.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.